Just the thought of sitting in a bath of ice cold water already starts to make me shiver. It's just not my idea of fun. So why do so many top level athletes across a range of sports use it as part of their recovery method? Well, today I want to find out whether this recovery process is all it's cracked up to be and whether the gains are really worth the pain. I think it's fair to say that we all want our bodies to recover sooner. The faster we recover, the quicker we can do our next training session, and then in the long term, the faster we'll end up reaching our sporting goals. Now, there are huge amounts of recovery products and methods on the market. Some of them are more traditional than others, one of which being the ice bath, also known as cryotherapy. Well, this has been a method that's been sworn by several athletes and coaches throughout the years. It's one of the more traditional methods of recovery. I want to know whether its popularity is due to the fact that it's just easy to use, it's low cost, and maybe the tradition is playing part of it, or whether there's actually any hard science behind using cryotherapy. To answer that question, we need to first look at what's actually happening to our bodies when we sit in a bath of ice cold water. Well, initially, that sudden change in temperature against your skin is going to cause all of those small capillaries, that basically those little blood vessels that are close to the skin and within our skeletal muscle, to contract. So they're going to be reducing the volume of blood that's flowing through them. As a result, you'll see your skin will probably go a bit whiter or lighter as you get into that bath, and also goosebumps will appear. And this happens almost instantaneously, and it's your body's way of protecting the core. So it's reducing the amount of blood that's close to the surface where the cold temperature is, and it's protecting those essential organs and your core inside, so maintaining that stable inner temperature. And with this sudden reduction of blood volume from the skin and from the muscles, it's going to aid the removal of any waste products that might have been within that blood or in that area as well. And there is some evidence to say that it can help with the lymphatic system, so helping with the drainage of the lymphatic system, which can again reduce inflammation and remove waste products there. And when you get out of the cold water, or maybe you get into warm water, whatever it is that's increasing the temperature that's around your skin, you'll notice the reverse happens. So those capillaries start to refill with fresh oxygenated blood that's going to be nice and red, and as a result, if you do have pale skin like mine, you'll notice that it will go pink and flush looking, just like the same as if you get out of a hot shower. And with this is going to be bringing that fresh oxygenated blood, so it's going to be helping with the circulation. So that's how it helps with the recovery method, because it's removing the waste products and then it's bringing back fresh blood. And you might think that sounds great, but why only do it once? Well, that's why quite a lot of coaches and athletes will use the hot cold method. So you're every few minutes actually moving from cold water into warm water, and vice versa. So you're continually causing those capillaries to constrict and remove that waste product, and then dilate and bring back that fresh oxygenated blood. And that's actually something that our coach used to get us doing, and I must admit I'd much prefer to spend longer in the warm water than I did in the cold. Many coaches have been prescribing this to their athletes, and the athletes tend to embrace it, irrelevant of the science. Now, apparently it's something that has a feel-good factor about getting in an ice bath. I'm not entirely convinced, but it's that subjective measurement. And I think we need to find out. We need someone, though, who maybe hasn't heard all that science spiel I've just given and is going to go with an open mind into some ice cold water. I mean, who could I use? Who could I possibly use? Yeah, I think it's time to ask a favour of my co-presenter, Mark. I mean, we know he's always up for a challenge, don't we? Although this is probably a bit more of an uncomfortable experience as opposed to a challenge, but I reckon Mark will be game.
Thanks, Heather. I mean, when you first asked me whether I'd like to take a bath for a video, I jumped at the opportunity. Now I see why you were quite keen to pass this one off. In all honesty, I probably should have done this one after the Everesting to really get that benefit. But anyway, as you asked so nicely, I'll do this one for GTN. So as you can probably tell, this is absolutely freezing. I'm very glad my whole body isn't under, because this is already taking my breath away. Now, I did actually used to do ice baths quite a lot. Now, I would do them most often directly after a track session. I mean, a track session is quite a damaging and quite a destructive session. So the idea is kind of the ice bath just helps to aid that recovery, which is a bit odd because I've done no training today, so I don't know why I'm in an ice bath right now. I have heard obviously arguments against the ice baths. It's just a placebo effect, or actually the ice bath undoes some of the benefits to inflammation that you get from kind of a damaging hard session. I don't know the answer there. I've definitely felt a little bit better after ice baths before. I particularly would use them prior to, say, a big race where I want my legs to freshen up quickly from the training and prior to that race, or even after a really hard race where my legs are screwed and I need a little bit extra help. So yeah, obviously not been using them very much lately, so this is a bit of a shock to system, and I've got a little bit longer left in here, so I'm just going to focus on the ice bath now, thanks. Whew, still warming up a little bit after that one. Gotta say though, do feel very nice and refreshed after that. I did have a couple of aches and pains from a run I did yesterday, and I can't feel them now. Maybe my legs are still numb and still warming up, but they do still feel a little bit better. I mean, yes, you could argue this is a placebo thing, and yes, the cold just makes you feel a bit more refreshed, but I don't think this is causing any harm, and if so, then in my opinion, what's the harm?
A huge thank you, Mark, for doing that and taking one for the team. I mean, we couldn't really have had a video about ice baths without at least one member of our team getting involved and giving it a go. And Mark mentioned that tingly leg feeling. I think we all know what he means with that. It's the same feeling you get if you've been swimming in cold water, and when you get out, your blood returns to your muscles and your skin, and you just sort of feel tingly and you feel good all over. And I think it's that perception of feeling good after recovery that ice baths actually give you, and it's very hard to measure objectively. There's not much science that's been able to measure the effect of an ice bath on the overall recovery. Yes, you can measure the fact that obviously the blood is returning, but as a result, a lot of the studies have actually had to rely on that subjective measurement. So asking their subjects of the perception of their recovery and how their legs actually feel after it. And again, there's some evidence from that subjective measurement that ice baths can help with DOM, so the delayed onset of muscle soreness. And it's just so hard to know, because after a hard session or doing something strenuous, our bodies are always going to feel different, and that recovery process changes time to time. With so many tools and recovery methods available, it's really quite hard to know what's best for you. But I would say that ice baths tick most of the boxes. They're easy to use. You just need a large amount of water and some ice, and as long as you have a bath at home, you're not going to need to travel anywhere. They're also safe as long as you don't have any pre-existing cardiovascular issues, and you get that real feeling that you've done something to help your recovery. That tingly leg feeling just feels like, yeah, you've been proactive with your time. And I would recommend just using them after those really key hard sessions, whether that's running or cycling, anything that's worked your legs really hard. And then you're just going to have to get used to that discomfort. 15 minutes is the recommended minimum time to spend in an ice bath, so you might want to get a good book or a podcast or something to distract you. And apparently it does get easier. I'll have to ask Mark for that one though. But when it comes to the overall recovery, apparently top of the list is a sports massage to help remove those waste products and get your legs recovering. But most of us can't have regular sports massages, so you'll be pleased to hear that cryotherapy is second on the list. Compression comes up quite high as well, and there are even some tools on the market now that combine all three of those. You might have seen Mark and Fraser enjoying some of the recovery ice pumping methods that were at some of the expos last year out in Kona and in Hamburg. From all the studies, it's perceived fatigue that is reduced the most. And this might sound a little bit woolly and hard to actually measure, but if you feel that it's doing something, you're going to feel that you can train sooner and harder. So surely that's got to be a good thing. Well, question time. I want to know if you guys enjoy the ice bath, or more to the point, do you embrace it? Or are you even a regular user? Do let me know in the comments section below, and give us a like, even if it is just to show the appreciation of the efforts that Mark went to in today's video. And remember, you can follow us on social media and subscribe here on YouTube too.